Okay, that took a while. My bad. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. Okay, damn. I didn't know it would do that, of all things. Anyways, hi, I think I'm live now. Hopefully I'm live. Fixed now? Oh yeah, finally fixed. It wasn't appearing for some reason. But I had to full screen it apparently, not windowed, so... Okay, that fixes the problem. Yeah, it's already fixed. Anyways, hi guys, this is your Hellfire Fox Brielle, and we're going to play Our Life Beginning and Always. And I see an ad break coming in. But yeah. How's everyone doing before we start? Still, damn, to think full screen would start fucking up. Yeah. Now let me just do like quick adjustments actually before we start. Yeah. Okay, I think I should be good. But yeah. I'm just gonna wait for this ad to just pass by for a little bit. This always happens whenever I stream, not gonna lie. There's always like these ad breaks. I'd rather just let them pass by first before I start streaming. If that makes sense, yeah. Like, I can't really remove them, not gonna lie. Like, it would be nice if I can just remove ads, but there would be no point to the subs now, would it? Yeah, there would be no point. But yeah, okay, I think we'll be playing this visual novel for the next week. I was just finished with Until Then a while ago, yeah. So it's gonna be very interesting. Like totally. Now, okay. Ad break, okay. After the ad break then we can actually start, but it's only like 3 seconds. But anyways, how's everyone's night going? Like, I know it's nighttime for some of you. Okay, so 3 seconds. Adway. Okay. Wait, where is the ad counter anyway? Huh. Hold on. Okay, that's more like it. Okay, now we can start. This is your Hellfire Fox Brielle, and yeah, we're gonna play Our Life. Apologies, because I did not like the fact that I had to do the full screen thing and check if I actually did run as administrator. You usually need to put those stats in. But yeah, let's start. So let's see, continue new file. Okay, let's just do new file. Because technically we are starting as we are starting this at the first time. Our life tutorial time. Welcome to Our Life Beginning and Always. There are various ways you can customize and interact with the game. This tutorial is an overview of how certain features work. You can read the full tutorial from the main menu to learn about everything in detail. To start off, the game is divided into 4 time periods called steps. Step 1 childhood, step 1 oh, why did I say 1 twice? Step 2 adolescence, step 3 young adulthood, and step 4 adulthood. Our life is further divided into sets of vignettes that take place during specific periods of time. These are called moments. Oh, that reminds me of Wednesdays. Moments can be played in any order or skipped entirely. You can move on to the next step whenever you want by selecting that summer is ending. Step 1 to 3 includes 5 moments, each and even more can be unlocked by purchasing DLCs. Some are out now and other DLCs will release later on. Step 4 is an epilogue and doesn't include moments. Okay. A lot happens over the years that go by, especially in regard to the character you play as. You determine nearly everything about the main character: name, appearance, personality, pronouns, interest, skills, their relationship with major characters, and so on. You can decide to change the details as time goes by, with a few exceptions. Your last name, skin tone, and eye color can't be altered once set. Oh boy. Much of the MC's basic traits are determined on the character creation screen. As the MC grows up, more options become available on the screen. As mentioned, one of the decisions you'll get to make for your character is selecting a name. You can type in any name you like, or you can pick a preset name. Okay, and then it'll be voiced. Good. Only the default name Jamie is included in the base game. Hundreds more can be added by getting a free voice name expansion DLC. The full collection of names is separated out as a DLC because of how large it is. If you're not interested in that feature, you don't need to get it. Each name in the DLC belongs to or was selected by someone who supported this project. Interesting. On the character creation screen, there's a cute doll you can decorate to get the idea of what your MC looks like, with the different traits put together. Not all the things you decide about the MC appear on the doll. The script referencing what you decided for the MC is the main way those decisions influence the game. Our life has a first-person perspective, so your character doesn't appear next to other character sprites. You only see the MC as a decorative doll in the special cut-in CG images. So, what is this, Toy Story? The cut-in CGs only appear if certain choices are made. It's possible not to see any during the playthrough. There is a second type of special MC-based screen, the interest and comfort screen. Unless you get the DLCs, the game has one love interest. Oh, we can't go for multiple routes. Unless if we buy the DLC, okay. Interest level sets how much you like him. There are 4 levels. Disinterest, fond, crush, and love. Love is only available starting in step 3, and if you were at fond or crush in step 2. Comfort determines how you generally react or think when it comes to him. There are 3 levels: nervous, relaxed, and direct. Your level of interest and comfort will set the type of dynamic your character has with the love interest. What you did in the past will influence the present, and feelings can change over time. You get to pick your interest comfort near the beginning of every step. Comfort can switch between the 3 levels as he plays. Your interest level can only stay the same or increase. Okay. So there's like a lot related to interest. So basically this reminds me of... what game reminds you of this? Because there's like a lot of Otome games that would do this kind of thing. So I'm just reading and skimming through. But I think I covered most of it. Hovering the cursor. Oh. Insight or emotions. Okay, so basically Inside Out. It's basically the Inside Out movie. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Oh, so now we're at the character creations mode. So we're playing Inside Out plus any Otome game possible. Let's see, so oval, peach. Okay, peach. Tan, brown, olive, peachy. Pale. No, I guess I'll go with peachy. Now for eye shape. Oh. Of course, we're just gonna go with my usual purple. Hair front, choppy, curled, flowy, short. Oh yeah, wait. Let's see if there's like similar to my fringe. Hold on. Braid front. Ooh. Yeah, okay, I think I'll get this one. But let's see if there's others. Oh, this looks way close to my bangs. I think I'll get the other one. The other one looks good enough. The flowy, yeah, that one. Now back hair, let's see. I think we're basing on how my hair is like IRL, so this is how my hair looks like. Okay. Next page, birthmark. No, no. Yeah, the mole. Scar. No, rosy cheeks. I don't have freckles. Hand, medium size, chubby, slender glasses. I mean, technically I do wear glasses as a disguise too, but I guess we'll go with normal glasses. I mean, normal nothing, I mean. Now what about, like, clothing types? Pants, shirts, accessories, hats, and watches would work. Scar, no. Freckles, no. No? I think that should be good. Begin the prologue, okay. Okay, let's begin. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of the year. Your usually sleepy town begins to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. I miss vacation. I miss vacation, not gonna lie. I remember things were so simpler back then. And during the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked how your family was, or most often just said, hello. What's this? Yeah, I mean, second option. You enjoyed learning all about where they were visiting from and hoped to visit those places one day too. But today, there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person, or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whoever, or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that the people who you didn't recognize really, really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your moms called it. So, for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your moms had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. So, you hadn't exactly been listening at the time. You think it could be okay to talk to new people. That's not always okay. Like, yeah, you gotta pass the vibe check. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you even if you don't know them. I'm still gonna get to. Oh, so that's where the emotion comes in, yellow. You weren't sure about this man yet. Hmm. Why do I have a feeling if I press the same thing again, it sounds like a trap. Like, for real, guys, it sounds like a trap when I'm going to go for here. Hmm. Well, I'll just pick yellow. Yo, Spicy Lemon, thank you for coming in. What's up? You slowed down, your eyes remaining fixed on the man. We're just playing Our Life Beginning and Always. Just a new visual novel since we wrapped up Until Then last time. Oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. There was a split second where your eyes met and you know he was aware. He wasn't alone on the street anymore. Hey. You raised your eyebrows at the shout. Did he want something? Is that why he was here? The man stood up and started to make his way toward you. Not wanting to seem too approachable, he folded your arms and stared. I'm gonna do this. So, you live around here? What's your name? Oh, aren't you such a hottie? Ahem. He looked at the man up and down, taking in his tanned skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed. The way he was acting was not. I mean, he looks like a typical surfer guy, actually. And also, good night, Lemon. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo. And you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. Could be. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. I live right there. My name is Bree. Great, nice to meet you, Bree. He gave you a broad smile, relief settling on his face. Are you lost? He reached into his pocket and he pulled out the clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him. Could you do me a favor? What favor? Nothing bad, sorry. I should have. Let me start over. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. Okay. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove, who's about your age. Cove, that seemed like a strange name for an actual living person to you. But that's definitely the kind of name someone like this guy would give to their kid. We moved in across the street, see? He gestured towards the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Bree Foxfire, right? I met your moms earlier and they told me you were 8 just like him, so... He shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corners. Can you try to be friends with the boy? Me. Friends. I wonder. I wonder. Just give it a chance and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him. But you gotta keep it secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. You kind of felt sorry for Cove. You eyed the man. What could be so bad about this Cove kid that his dad would need to bribe strangers to be friends with him? What do you say? Wanna make a deal? Why not? I mean, logically speaking, if I was a kid, I'd probably take the money. But I'll take it. You carefully plucked the bill from his outstretched hand, grinning at the thought of what you could do with much cash. Thank you for the patron attendance. Yeah, I had to restart my stream. Yeah, oh, stuffed animals. Or it could cost a few dollars to set up a library card. With this, you can pay for yourself instead of having your moms do it. There was a cute stuffed animal you'd see in the store you could buy a ticket for the newest cinema. Okay, you were already planning to ask your moms to take you. And with just the start you thought, the sky was the limit with that kind of amount. The man smiled at you, his eyes crinkling at the sides as he did. Great, that's great. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I want him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but, well, I don't know where he's gotten off to. He laughed when he said that, but with the way his face looked, you thought he'd actually wanted to cry. I mean, let's be fair, making friends is one thing, but asking someone to do it for you, like with bribe involved, sounds sketchy, don't you think? If you see him, can you tell him to come home? He's got a pink cast and glasses, you can't miss it. You sure can. The man smiled and reached out to pat you on the head, paused before doing so, then pulled his hand away instead. Your mom's already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are. Now I better go look. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here. I thought he might come back and that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again, Bree. So much. He jogged off down the street without another word. This is like a chill visual novel. It's been a while. You decided to check the hills behind your house. Ooh. Step 1, first sight. So this is childhood days. Adim. The chirping of crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. From the top of the hill, you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of the waves on the shore and the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. You always loved the ocean, it was so much fun. Sometimes Lizzie would join you, the two of you splashing each other in the waves. Those were the best days. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try and relax, and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. There was a boy sitting at the top of one hill, almost completely hidden with the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His hand was buried in knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you'd found a deer in the wild. Though the deer didn't have green hair, but this new boy did. Ah, what was that? You watched as it fluttered softly around his face in the breeze. After a few more seconds, he took a step forward and then another. So we're sneaking. We sneaking, bruh. And then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him, and showed you weren't scary. Are you lost? With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying, there were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees soaking the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight, though when he caught you staring at it, he hid his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier said stuck out to you. Clothes? Huh? Eyes wide, he studied you. How'd you know that? You touched the money in your pocket, feeling it crinkle behind your fingertips. I met your dad, I'm all-knowing. That's a lie. Tell the truth. Okay. Your dad told me who you were. Oh. So, is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave it if it is. Yeah, you can't own the hill. Why not? How could you? You just do. I had a hill back home. Well, this still isn't mine. Oh. He sat back down with a thumb, pressing his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, he sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Mm-hmm. Um, why are you here, or why did your family move? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as he asked the question. I was about to say Clover, Jesus Christ. Almost like they'd never stop, his tears started up again with vengeance. My parents, they don't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave and he took me with him, and now we have a house here and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard by the time he was done wailing. Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping at his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. You like it here, you just have to get used to it. Your dad seems kinda nice, I'm sorry. The green one. He slipped his hands underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. Sunset Bird was a nice place to live. It had a beach, playgrounds, a good school, at least he thought so. But from way off the distance, you heard your parents. Bree? Cove? Kids, where did you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here. I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home. Don't worry so much. Don't worry so much. Sure, maybe it's weird. Maybe it's weird and you're not gonna like it, but your dad's there too, right? Yeah. So you're not really all by yourself. Even if it feels like it, you just gotta tell him how you feel. You shot him a grin and put yourself to your feet. He can't do anything if you don't make him hear you, right? Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove? Can you hear me? He looked toward the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not bandaged arm. Sorry, I still don't want to go. Yeah, I got it. You do? Before you could answer, you heard Cove's dad even closer than before. There you are, bud. A trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you and they rushed over. Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Bree, you're here after all. You had been at the park to check for Cove and then I heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. Mommy gave Cove a small smile and then she turned back to you. Thank God you're both fine. Are you two having fun out here? Are these both of your moms? They look hot. I mean, ahem. You you looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing his arms. Okay. Is the volume too loud? Hold on. Yes, I like him. He nodded, smiling slightly. Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood. Good thing Bree knows the whole area well. Absolutely. We should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove. Bye. The two of them walked into the darkness, heading towards the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper play date tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? Of course. Then okay. Both of your moms laughed, the sound overlapping to a warm, familiar chorus. So technically... So... If I have two moms... Yeah. Like, the one on the right is cute, but the one on the left is like... Bam! And then these are both my moms. Damn. The one on the left is... Anyways. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after a long, exciting day, you follow them home. Choose your feelings for Cove. This is how you feel towards Cove for this step. It can change in later steps. So, relax, nervous, or... I guess fond, not crush, fond, and then relaxed. Ooh, I like this one. At the breakfast table the next morning, you finish your food faster than usual. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you'd stay put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Excited to see your new friend again, Bree? Yeah, I am. I'm sweet. I'm so happy you moved in. With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Good job. He should be here soon. Cleanup began, and then on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud though. Need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Bree, could you get it? Wiggling out of your chair without really pushing it back, you made your way to the door. Hey, Foxfire family, thanks for having us. Mr. Holden's, as your moms had called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him and mom and mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. Okay, at least we're not confused on the moms. Pleased to see your new friend again, he smiled at Cove. He smiled back with some hesitation. Let's go play in my room. Okay. Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids. See you later, son. Play nice. You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, and a window to look at. Yo, Zenny Dragon! Thank you for the raid. Let me just shout you out for a bit. It's your Hellfire Fox Rail speaking, and we're just starting out with Our Life Beginning and Always. It's free on Steam. How is you? It's been a while. Oh. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. I I drew that. Cool. You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying on the books on your desk and the pictures on the wall. The Zenny Dragon Mercs have posted a bounty for an awesome streamer that deserves love and support. Aw, thank you. How have you been, Zenny? It's been a while, actually. Haven't seen you. You were glad for the company, yeah. It was nice to have someone new to play with. Then his eyes landed on the tiny box of beach things you've collected, tucked away by your door. He took a step forward towards you before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach. Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. I think so. Yeah, see? He gestured to a piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand. Neat, this is a cool collection. You got the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice or to be like Shiloh. He actually meant it. Also, who's Shiloh? Oh right, I almost forgot. Shiloh's gonna be here today. Shiloh. Lizzie's friend, or like her #1 fan, I guess. Do I have to see him? It should be okay. I mean, he's Lizzie's friend, not mine, but you know. I mean, friends of friends are okay. Not gonna lie, it's not that bad. I got a lot of those. Like, for real, I have a lot of those to begin with. Come on, check out my shells some more. I found this one under a big piece of seaweed that was washed ashore, and he pulled out seashell after seashell, explaining where you got each one, and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them off home, cleaning off the sand. The collection was so huge and varied that you had lots of funny stories to tell for all of them. Apparently fascinated either by the stories or by the shelves themselves, Cove listened with what looked like full force of his attention, like when you almost got pinched by a hermit crab while searching for shells. And after watching him scuttle back into the ocean, you found another empty shell that was almost a twin to his home. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus. But Cove hadn't been mean to you, so you didn't mind. You smiled at him every now and then while showing him to your collection. Kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that a parent made it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was a part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them. Okay, but be careful. I will. You weren't sure if you could trust someone else with your treasures yet, so you stayed next to him while he opened the lid and peered inside. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Ooh. Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up in his eyes shining. I think that... Hey Bree, hope you're well. I am well. I'm just reading a new visual novel here. Since we wrapped up Until Then last time, and it's like, damn it, the red flag was real. Anyways, I think this one is the best of them. But damn though, it's been a while since I went to the beach. I think the last time I was at the beach, there was a starfish that was deliberately stalking me while I was on the water. Congrats on the new sponsor, by the way. Oh yeah, thanks. I've been wanting to collaborate with Itasha Coffee. Like, I'm both into anime cosplay stuff, culture stuff, and coffee. So why not? I wish I can have like my own drink line with them one day, but they're they're pretty cool, and I wouldn't mind seeing what else is there. That's my favorite too. I like a different one best. I can show it to you. You can take it. Cove looked at you in surprise, his eyes going wide. Really? Sure, you like it a lot, right? Uh-huh, but I don't want to take it from you. It's okay. You got the impression that he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well. No, it's okay for you. You pushed the shell against Cove's chest. Well, yo, Paras-chan. Hi, hi. How are you? We're just playing some Our Life, Beginning and Always. New visual novel for the week. You pushed the shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present, but Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win at least. Not today. Cove was your neighbor now, maybe you could give it to him another time. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, he figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. You'll be alright. He's here. We can't tell him to leave. He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked onto the back of the house. I can go out the window. He was already walking towards it. Scrambled to think of something to say, he stepped forward and paused. Cheer up, Shiloh's gonna like you. He likes everyone, I mean it. But I don't want to see him, I don't know him. Bro, stop being an introvert and just get friends. I'm kidding, no, don't be like that. It's fine. Maybe if he passes the vibe check. Like, why not? Hey, if you do have a hard time with him, I'll tell him to leave, is that okay? Okay. Shiloh poked his head into the living room. It was impossible to know for sure if he'd heard what you've been saying or not, but he guessed that he had. Hi! Hi, Bree! And, hi, Cove? Cove shot you an uneasy glance. Hi. I'm Shiloh, nice to meet you. Yeah. You have a lot of freckles. Right, I do. What are you guys doing? We're looking for at shells. Oh, can I do it too? Cove shrugged and looked back at your box of beach findings. What about that one? The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach things some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. Hey, check out the scallop shell I found. Cool, right? It's a pretty color, kinda like my cast. Yeah, what happened to your cast, buddy? The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm. So what's this the game about? I guess it's about... okay. Good question. It didn't really introduce much, but it involves a protagonist having a love interest with this guy in the green over here. And basically it goes from 4 steps, which is childhood, young adolescence, young adult, adulting. Like, we're going through moments and memories with this green haired boy over here. And right now we're in the childhood phase. If that makes sense. We're just going through liking someone through childhood to adulthood. No, childhood, adolescence, teenager, adulthood, yada yada. It's like that. It didn't really do much intro besides the heavy text of tutorial, but I hope that covers it at least. Pink is a nice color. Okay. Is it your favorite? Not really. What is? Maybe green or blue. Might be yellow. Oh, those are all cool. I guess. I like those colors too. Awesome. But yeah, it's like one of those typical slice of life related visual novels, and it just grows a little bit, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's leaning to me on slice of life, was probably romance on step 3, step 4. Basically that. Both of them smiled. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either. Is Lizzie coming back? Don't know. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach probably. Is she playing at her park? Cove's eye lit at the mention of the park and he looked towards you. There's a park? Yeah, but it's old. Can you show me? I wanna go. He started getting up before you had even answered, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Really, you do too, right? Freak? The park is fun. Yeah, it's right at the beach, so there's a lot of fun stuff to do, and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it could be cool. So are we going to find Lizzie? I don't know, I never really wanted to see her, I just wanted to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys want to go, it was only fair. After getting permission from your mom, the three of you were ready to head out. Plus, I do like slice of life in general, like, especially animes. Like, the best slice of life anime I can think of is Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. That one really hits a punch. And then there's one that involves making cocktails. That's a good one too. But I haven't been watching that much slice of life anime because I've been watching a bit more fantasy or fantasy animes. Like the current ones I've been watching is there's two, which is I Left My A Rank Party and then Two Perfect Scene. I've been watching most of those lately, like per week. But I've been also binging Evangelion series in my server. Yes, you heard it right. We were binging Evangelion Rebuild series. Are these all new ones? Oh yeah, they're pretty ongoing too. They're new. I'm gonna try catching up to those series when I got nothing else to do at the work or if I'm finally at home. Like I haven't watched it in a while. But we've been binging Evangelion, imagine. We've been binging from 1.0 movie, then 2.0, and then we recently finished 3.0 a few days ago. We may go for 3.0 plus 1.0 afterwards. And it kind of felt like an unannounced movie night, not gonna lie, because I haven't been doing much community stuff, so I just use my server to watch movies with a friend. And people will just come in and just join in. But I guess that's how my server is. I just use it as like a private movie area. But that's a good way to interact with people. You just come in, like if they're... Like my way of handling it is, oh, wanna find me? Just go to my server and check the VC. I'm literally there. So I'm very reachable. Not gonna lie. Okay, let's go back to the visual novel. I think Slice of Life only watched the old ones. No, wait, Nodame Cantabile. I forgot about that one. Except I watched Nodame Cantabile on TV. And it was on... I think English dub, I think? Yeah. I watched it from the Animax channel back then, and I was at 5th or 6th grade. So that was like... 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah. Yes, I've been watching anime from Animax as a morning thing as a kid. Yeah, along with Tears of Tiara, then the Fullmetal Alchemist series. Of course, there's Sergeant Karoro and Digimon series. I watched most of them there. I'm not sure if I encountered other animes, but I did watch older anime that was dubbed in Filipino. Yes. There was a specific anime channel here that does all Filipino dub anime. It wasn't that bad. It felt like it actually fit. I think some of the titles I used to watch were Toradora, Prince of Tennis, even though it was a sports anime, Slam Dunk. Surprisingly, I like Slam Dunk. And then Pani Ponidash, Yamato Nadeshiko. Those animes. I didn't really watch anything that could be suspicious. But Pani Ponidash was probably the weirdest thing I've watched until I see isekai animes. You can probably look it up. Anyways, let's go back. Well, I got sidetracked over a childhood anime. Me too, I used to love that. My favorite animes all the time was Animax. Oh, wait. I finished the whole Holic manga, by the way. I think my last read was Holic Ray, if I'm not wrong. I finished Holic. I even watched the anime series. Yeah, I watched everything. I think Holic was one of my favorite animes because of the mysteriousness, but then it also gives you the reality of how people's addictions or behaviors and frustrations affect everything, both spiritually. If that's how I remember it, that at least. But you get my point, no? You get my point. So I've been watching anime for a very long time. It's just that other animes just got too stale for me. And it's like, yeah, I'm looking for like an anime that I can relate to, but it doesn't feel forced. Those two animes that I'm currently watching are under that. It doesn't feel too forced, and I can actually follow the storyline without a problem. But yeah. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie. Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Bree, Shiloh, hi. She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just the three of you, but now Cove was here. You wondered if he would leave too. Who's that? Oh, wow. So this is Lizzie. I can see why people like her. That's a good combo. Oh, it's Cove. He's new. I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestured widely with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. Without interrupting Lizzie's speech, Cove whispered in your ear quite enough that others would overhear it. I thought kids couldn't own places like parks or hills. You couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes to the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are? Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie is the oldest, by a lot. My mom said you're Bree's age. Yeah. Thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. What about the other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here and Shiloh's just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth. What's this? Yeah, the anime pretty much shaped me when I was a kid. It was so much more than Ghost. But yeah, kinda wish they can do more of the series, but it got an out of turn when I think about it. Like, it gotten really out of turn when I tried them. Also, give me a moment. Oh, Ko-Fi shop. I kind of noticed my Ko-Fi shop thing, the Ko-Fi logo thing is covering some parts of the screen. I'll just put it up here then. Ah, there we go. That's better. But anyways, moving on. Oh. For a second, looked like he might cry again, but something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people, like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids, they hate kids. Animax showed me so much stuff. I agree, I don't have the vigor to watch anime that kind of relates to me, and I think the last one I watched was Komi Can't Communicate. Oh, that one slaps. Until I remember they changed art styles. Why? We haven't done anything. Only some of them don't like kids. You interject quickly, hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far. Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Ah. Yeah, Lizzie looks like a mean girl for some reason. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and Bree in school. You'll see tons of kids there once summer is over. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Shiloh looked down to the dirt. He hadn't had much luck striking up conversations with Cove. I like summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. Also, let me see how fast is the auto. At Shiloh's discomfort at how weird she thought Cove was. At something else entirely you didn't really know, but she laughed. Face scrunching up. Okay. Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. You offered him a small smile and that, at least, looked to reassure him some. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way the sun and lunch and the beach were. During your first summer together, you really liked Clover. Cove, not Clover, damn it. He was a fun person to play with, and he seemed to like playing with you too. Of course, that was only the start of things. Oh. Moment select, step 1. So I have to go for the DLC with Library Ghost Barbecue. I wouldn't mind barbecue. Like, damn. I might just buy the DLC just to know what this one does. But moment select step 1. I guess probably Fireflies? Alright, tonight we're going to catch fireflies. At the blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over the summer, coming onto warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be tons of them around. Oh, you are you? A grin curved to your lips as you started to eat a bit faster, excited for what was to come. It seemed like you were too excited, however, as you started to cough on your food from shoveling it down so quickly. Ah, that sounds like me, getting choked over my coffee every now and then. Mommy reached over to pat you on the back firmly, helping to dislodge the noodles and enable you to breathe again. You took a big gulp of water from your glass, giving your mom a sheepish look. Oops. That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we, Mrs. Foxhart? Shallow tapped his fork against the table, excitedly his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. Oh, it's one of those things. Like I remember if you're like if you don't like have like other what's a good word to say? Other guardians to help you out. This is what they would do. But from what I know, people would hire a babysitter or go for like, oh, I don't know. They would probably go to like a daycare or something, but daycares aren't really a thing here, but only school does. Hmm. Still though, that is rather interesting. Anyways. But normally she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why, probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home and watching TV was never a good option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your mom to agree. Well, it's already so dark out there. Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth, while you waited there for their response. Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. Your parents exchanged looks. The mom eventually sighed and nodded back. Yet, along with Lizzie's cheers, you threw up your arms up in triumph, but waited until you finished chewing to say anything because you knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full. Fine, fine. Just make sure to stay on the hill beside our house with all the poppies, okay? Duh, Mom. That's where most of them are. The idea had only just been planted into your head, but already you could just picture all the glowing lights spread out in front of you, like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy reads sometimes. All too quickly became a race to see who could finish their food first. No choking at the dinner table now. Choke me. That's right, if someone died, we have to cancel the Firefly trip after all. Mom said it like a joke, but you knew that they were both telling your kids to slow down. Shiloh did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should. Elizabeth? No one is gonna die, sheesh. A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister. I'll get it. Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking on the window to see who it was. Huh? You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest. Good evening, Cove. Your mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see past Shiloh's flappy hat. Oh, hi, Cove. You're here. Cove smiled at your enthusiastic greeting and hoped mommy would ask him to stay. It didn't matter why he was there, it meant he could join you all in catching fireflies. Then for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with a face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you. Cove took a familiar screwdriver from out of his large side pocket. Eyes now dropped to the floor. We left ours back home when we moved. Great, thanks, bye. Thank you. Here, why don't you come inside for a little bit? Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged and Mom stood from the table too. I'll give your dad a call to let him know you got here alright. Cove shuffled fully inside, eyes remaining on ground. Mommy closed the door behind them. Hi, Cove. Shiloh gave Cove a friendly smile while waving by, holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response. Cove, are you going to catch fireflies with us? You could see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider, but she'd get over it. You hope Cove would say yes, that way you wouldn't be the odd one out with Lizzie and Shiloh anymore. Yeah. I can do that. I've never caught one before. It's too bad he didn't have a chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must not have been anywhere he used to live. We can't go until after dinner. After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to her table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cove stepped closer and you eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal. Have you eaten yet? Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier. What did you have? Eggs. The clipped one-word answer seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. He slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended because your mom came back into the room. Cove, your dad said you can stay for a little while if you'd like, but he's going to come get you before it gets too much later. Sure. Oh, fun, this will be so nice. As you polished off the meal, you hope it would be too. Guys, is it weird that I never had mac and cheese? I don't see it as a popular thing. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far. It's fine, Mom. Shiloh trailed so closely after Lizzie he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. Coming? After a moment, he did. Bye, children. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh. By the time you walked outside, you pushed the door shut behind you while watching your figures get farther and farther away. Hurry up! You're so slow, Brave. We don't have all night. You started to run while you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. Hurry, Cove, before you get all the fireflies first. You darted down the pavement towards your sister and her friend. After a few seconds, you heard the slap of Cove's sandals not far behind. That made you smile as you ran through the night. Oh. When you finally reached the hill, you stopped to catch your breath, looking up at Lizzie and Shiloh, who had already made it to the top and started spinning around between the blinking lights of the fireflies. As you climbed the hill with Cove beside you, you held out your fingers towards the fireflies that were gently bobbing all around, illuminating the grass and poppies covering the hill. There was barely any wind, which made it perfect for the little lightning bugs to be out exploring the big wild world. Wow. Whoa. Shiloh took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill. Hi guys, it's really great out here, huh? See how many there are? Yeah. A firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea-green head. Covering your mouth with a hand, the sound escaped you and Cove looked at you in confusion. What? You gestured to his head and he reached up, making the firefly dart away. Cove jumped and followed after the glow. Oh, look, Lizzie has one. That's amazing. Shiloh ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure to not lose his hat or backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozen of other fireflies sailing around. The game was on. Spotting one close by you, approaching was assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms outstretched. You closed your hands around the little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it, his pink cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clap his hands around the firefly. Ah. Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. You'll get the next one. Did you catch one? He nodded and and Cove gave up his hunt for a moment, coming closer to peering at the insect still crawling across your palm. You held out your hand and he leans closer, eyes widening a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he settled his fingers lightly over the top of the ones you were holding upon. It tingled. The last thing you wanted was to accidentally scare the shiny treasure off. Oh, that looks cute. The firefly noticed the new connection up onto Cove's hand. He quietly gasped. It worked. Yeah, you got one. Cove's lip turned up into a slow smile. Slow smile. And his eyes shined brighter than the bug. Thanks, Bree. With the laugh he gave, the palm of your hand had a friendly smack performing an awkward lo-fi. Startled by the extreme movement, the tiny light disappeared before you could even blink. Your firefly was gone. Oops, sorry. It's okay. That's okay. I can keep it forever. Right, bugs have to stay outside. Let's get another. We can work together. His face broke out into a wide grin. Look at the bunch. With renewed vigor, we ran out into the hill. You're not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. At first, you tried to keep a tally of how many you had caught, but once the numbers grew higher than the 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laugh echoing in the background. Bree, this way! You followed the sound of Cove's voice to the top of the hill, watching as he stretched his arms in front of him, reaching with his fingers and only narrowly missing his target. Cove and you took turns trying to scare fireflies in the direction of the other. You showed him some techniques that you had learned, like how to cup your hands correctly, and he listened attentively before trying for himself. There were a few times where you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove to the side at the last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoiding each time. It was an overall huge success with the both of you catching multiple fireflies each. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call up the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavily and his face seemed really flushed. That was great, a lot of fun. You smiled at him broadly, happy that he had enjoyed the activity. Yeah, it was. Bree, Cove, get up here, we're gonna have a race. The shouting from Lizzie caught you off guard. You had been quite a while since you heard from Lizzie or Charlotte. You glanced over to see them both standing on top of the hill, Lizzie beckoning you with the quick hand gestures. Grab my throat. If she was like that, you'd know there wasn't much room for discouragement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove! Damn it. Cove was coming as well. You didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought you might be intrigued just by the idea of a race. Hi. Hi, Cove. You can't roll down the hill. You could hurt your arm again. You'll be the referee for the rest of us. As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, was that kind of race? He frowned down at his cast. That was the second time it got in the way tonight. What? Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's the important one, got it? I guess. The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make someone else the referee, but it was already decided. Really? Why? You don't have to. It's okay, I want to watch. You moved aside and on top of the hill, even though Lizzie eyed you and made a face. That's not how races work. You only need one referee. Kid. First of all, it's dark. Second, I said it's dark and you guys might get hurt and both of us are done with the fireflies. I will just watch. Shrugging your shoulders, you refuse to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air. Fine, I'll be the winner whether you join or not. Lizzie moved to lay down, and Shiloh did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point and stood next to him. Countdown? Cove, Cove stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duty seriously. 3, 2, 1, go. Lizzie and Shiloh took off, letting the gravity do the work and rolling at a high speed towards the bottom of the hill. You and Cove leaned towards to watch them go. Eyes peeled for which of the two would reach the bottom first. They were both neck to neck until about halfway down the hill. Lizzie started to veer off to the side, giving Shiloh a huge disadvantage. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing, and as soon as Shiloh reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped excitedly and threw his hands in the air. I won! Almost immediately, he fell back onto the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lizzie stomped out of the bush she had ended up in, spluttering angrily and brushing leaves from the front of her dress. Not bad, you got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real. Kids? My voice. Yabe. Kids, it's time to come in. No, you snickered, feeling grateful you had been a part of the mini debacle. You caught Cove's eyes and saw that he was doing the same. It had gotten late and was beginning to feel just to be a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hill, but the cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. Four of you walked back home together side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening with the person trying to prove that they were the ones who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you did have a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did. So that was done. That's rather interesting. Still though, my throat is becoming a little bit sore. Then, yeah, my throat is a little bit sore, I think. Hold on, let me get some water. Okay, so which one should I go for, actually? Like, them. Okay, I'll just go with shopping. That's my favorite thing to do. Come back before it gets dark, alright, sport? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being hands a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you'd first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You gotta learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them off the sand and jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first and his dad. Bree, hi. Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to? Are you up to, Bree? Taking a walk. I found a pretty cool snail across the road. There's a lot of snails around here. Mr. Holden grinned at you kindly. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun, you know. Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? You gave a ready nod, turning to squint in the direction of the stores like you could see the goods they had to offer all the way from where you stood. Oh, is that okay? I don't mind. Right, I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. He found it odd since your mom's only ever seemed to have cash in theirs. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Clover. Cove! Why do I keep calling you Clover? Cove! Giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend too. Sure, that's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up, the bill in his hand still held towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Then they'll be off. They'll be off, bruh. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide creeping up to the sand, and you fell into the place beside them. It was a nice day. The sun was shining and there wasn't many clouds in the sky, though the wind was coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you look at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. Cove startled a little at the sound of your voice and mumbled, sort of. If you see any, you can let me know. You could manage that. You dropped your view to the sand, walking carefully so you didn't step on any. You were good at finding shells. You had a lot of them at home, and always found the new ones whenever you visited the beach. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise. And you played the little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times. And although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. What did you want to go to the shops for? I need the new sand pail. Yeah, we'll have your old one. Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second. Whoa. It disappeared. What, really? Cove ducked his head down, lacing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so he nudged his arm. How'd that happen? Well, I took it to the beach one day. When I got home, it wasn't anywhere. You left it there? No, it wasn't at the beach when I went back. Then you lost it. It disappeared. What about you? What do you do out here? Last summer, Lizzie and I built one that was tall as me, and sometimes they have sandcastle building competitions by the boardwalk. Cool, I bet you could win. You smiled at Cove. Maybe the two of you would build together one day. Once you reached a shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. Ah yes. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespersons trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, and you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just excited as you were. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that he couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed out the large crowd of people gathering near a few tables with large colorful umbrellas looming from their middles. You can't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what the commotion was all about. Amazing Alexander. In the center of the crowd, there was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had three long tails. There was a little table next to him with the cloth hanging over it. It reads The Amazing Alexander in glitteringly golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on the sign? Clove hummed with understanding and then turned to walk away just as the Amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. Maybe we could stay and watch? I'm not really a fond of magic shows if I'm not mistaken. He then briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them to place. He grinned, waving for him to follow you as he raced back to stand in the crowd. With that, it was a four of diamonds. Oh, that's the card he got. Oh yeah, I forgot to save. So let's save here. Watch closely. Okay. He did, squeezing through a few of the adults' onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Eh? The Amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with his kind smile. What's this behind your ear? This has to be going somewhere and you need to find out. He smelled like popcorn and can't even step closer. It was great. You felt a tug and then he pulled the four of diamonds out from behind your ear. But you knew that couldn't really have come out from your ear, but you still didn't get how he done it. There was a light applause from the crowd and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from the clump of them, tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. Oh, that's nice. Kind of reminds me of how I used to go to birthday parties and they would have magicians. Always a fun time. And one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you were really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits, not the balloons, the stuff with the cards. Clove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. He saw a magic trick and he got a great balloon. That was more than enough to make it a worldwide event. He thought that if you could find a card to practice with, maybe you could make it disappear too. The crowd started to clear some and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. The kaleidoscope. Oh, these are cool. You shifted your balloon string to your other hand so you could bring the mysterious tunnel to your eye. A whole palette of colors appeared. Clove picked one up and looked through the twisting tube in the end. After a second, he set back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and he joined them. He nodded and he smiled back at him, happy to hear it. When Clove moved towards some stalls nearby, he followed beside them. Oh, crabs. So we got stuffed animals. Crab, shark, or dolphin? I don't like crabs. I don't like dolphins, so I'll pick shark. And turtle. Your hand stopped on the shark, a devious smirk filled with sharp teeth on his face. You weren't supposed to go near sharks in real life, but there was something about the shark you like, and the fabric on its back was soft when you picked it up. You were instantly enamored. Oh yeah, $6. Yeah, that's a little bit expensive. If that was from here, I could get this for like $3. You rarely have more than a $5 bill to your name. Though that changed the day you met Cove and his dad, you still had the $20 bill Mr. Golden gave you hidden away in your room. Maybe you have to ask your mom to bring you here again one day that you knew what you wanted. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh. It's $6. I didn't bring any money. That's fine. Really? Really? Clove took the keychain from your hands and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself too. I was always gonna get you something. I already got the money for it. It was nice of Cole's dad to let Cole buy something for you too. You had to remember to take him the next time you saw him. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove? Yeah. I really like this keychain, thank you. That's nice. Cove looked further down the street where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach and just as he did yours... Huh? As he did yours, let out the light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around the short while looking at the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious. After passing hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, pizza, you both agree on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you... Cheese. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a bite. It was covered in gooey melted cheese, just so you like it. It seemed odd to get a dessert pretzel before eating normal food. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up pan that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere won't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand, tightened a delicate bow around his wrist. Oh. Cove bounced his arm up and down place, testing the stability of the knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain detached, he smiled satisfied. Can you do it for me? For your piece of ritual, Cove struggled somewhat with the cast restricting his fingers on one hand, and the string already tangled around the other. Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste of your tongue with a smile as you looked over to the ocean. After a time you had finished your pretzel, you were done before Cove. It was boring not have anything to do. It's the beach! There's plenty of things to do on the beach. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held up the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. Mine's name is Merryweather. The Merryweather I know is a dog, but let's see. Okay, I'll pick Mary. He wears a crown made of seaweed and all of his friends are merfolk. Every now and then, he'll make friends with a kid and let them ride on his back. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real dolphin like Merryweather. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across in contemplation. It's... With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh no. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten. Read it. You looked at Cove, then up to your balloon, bobbing gently in the air above you. You can have mine. That was better than letting him cry more. Cove sniffled, glancing up at the balloon and back at you. No, it's yours. I don't want to take it from you. It's okay, really. Cove shook his head, even though that wasn't your fault. He still felt bad. Still, the offer seemed to lift Cove's spirits, and that was good. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon, and damn. Not gonna lie, I remember the time I was in the beach before was like in like the southern part of the country. We had the beach to ourselves. It was white sand, emerald and emerald and blue waters. And we literally had some nice seafood curry in from the ocean. Ah, good times. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand peel in his hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been a good one, except for the sad final note. Okay, so guys, as much as I want to continue, okay. Oh, as much as I want to continue, chat, my throat is kinda aching, as you can see. I don't know why. Yeah, I need to rest for a little bit. But for now, let's just stop from here. We'll continue this next week. So for now, I'll be resting my throat and then let's raid out. Now, who do we raid at a time like this? It's rare for me to wrap up early, but like, yeah, I could use like a little bit more rest for the night shift, which is very valid. I agree. Now, who would I raid actually? Hmm. Okay, I found someone. But anyways, thank you guys for coming in. Tomorrow's stream will be having Once Human. Hoping they don't do like other stuff. Like when I say other stuff, I mean updates. But anyways, thank you guys for coming in and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.